Alright, we just covered 3 sections last week. We're going to cover another 3 sections this week. One of the sections covers over 2 days, so you want to make sure you're ready for that starting tomorrow. That is tomorrow's lesson, which I think is 12.6 because we are skipping 12.5. But overall, this chapter revolves around analyzing data. Our last section focused on what was going on in the middle of the data. That's why they call it central tendencies. This is going to give us a visual of the data broken into fourths. A box and whisker plot is a graph of data values. It breaks each section into 25% portions. That's what I mean by fourths. Every portion of a box and whisker plot represents 25% of the information. The essential question is, where do I get the values for the box and whisker plot? And it's very important that you understand that, because if you don't know where the values come from, then you won't know how to make one. The key values do revolve around these words. I guess it should say words, not values, but some of which you should already know how to find. For example, minimum I think we know, so I'm going to put a star by that. And median I think we did last section, and maximum I think we know how to find. So sorry, I don't know how to make a star. But those 3 values we already know. And so what we've got to do now is make sure that we understand everything else that's going on. So again, the only values that are new to us are the first quartile and the third quartile. Well, officially, the first quartile is the median of the lower half, which means first you find the median, and in the lower half you find the median again. The third quartile again is the same thing. Once you take the whole set of data and cut it in half from the median, you do the median of the upper half, and that is your third quartile. There is a trick to this, but it's best learned through experience. What I mean is there are types of problems where you can make a bad decision because sometimes if the median is not a number, remember, because a median can be in between 2 numbers, then you have to do different things. So we're going to talk about this real quick on 3 examples. Be sure to use these examples on your work as a guide, and then other than that, we should be good. So again, all I'm going to do here is label those things that I'm looking for and then go find them. Of course, my minimum is 2. I don't know what my first quartile is. I think my median should be okay. Third quartile okay. And my max, of course, is 30. So we've got 2 numbers already. The median shouldn't be that bad on this, because if you look at it, you've got 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, and this represents my median, which is 10. Now, as long as 10 is my median, then I actually take that out. Again, do not count your median in your first quartile or your third quartile. So once 10 is my median, pretty much what I do is take your pencil and put it over wherever your median is, and since 10 is an actual number, cover that up, and now we find the median of these first 3 numbers. So 2, 5, and 8, 2 and 8, which means that this would be the median of this part, which means that my first quartile is 5. Again, covering my median here, 1 for 1, which means that 21 would be my third quartile. So that would be how I find my numbers there. And the next thing I do is I make a box and whisker plot. So I need something with the range from 2 to 30, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. So you need numbers that are evenly spaced, just like we said before with the other stuff going on. But again, we need numbers that are evenly spaced and ready to go. And then all you do is you mark these 5 values. So minimum is 2, so go to where about 2 is, which would be somewhere around here, and put a dot. First quartile is 5, so go above that, and you want them to go straight across when you do this. So first quartile is 5, so there's your dot. Median is 10, so it'd be somewhere around there. Third quartile is 21, so it'd be just slightly past 20, somewhere around there, and your max is 30, which is way over here. You then pretty much draw a line, kind of like a maximum, not a maximum line, but just a vertical line through all 5 of those points, and you take the middle 3 to make a box, and the outer 2 get a line drawn through them, which gives a whisker. This is what we call our interquartile range, which represents the middle 50%, which is in between the range of 5 to 20. That's a very important number in terms of your box and whisker plots, but I really don't know what it means because I didn't research that before this video. I apologize. I just know my job right now is to teach you how to do the box and whisker plot. We can always research where it's used and how it's used, but again, in terms of the information, this is 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. So that would be your box and whisker plot there, and that's all you have to do. Again, identify the 5 values, plot them on a graph, draw a vertical line through all of them, make a box out of the middle 3 values, and whiskers out of the outer two values, and that is all. Now again, that was an easy question because everything ended up nice, but you've got to be careful on these because again, when I'm going through this part here, I'm sorry, we want minimum first. My minimum is 4. My first quartile I don't know, median I don't know, max is 19, so let's go ahead and find the median. 1 for 1, 1 for 1, and look at that, 1 for 1, which means my median is in between 10 and 13. And so what I'm going to do here, because it's not an actual number, is I'm going to draw a line to split them, because remember my median actually splits them, and then I'm going to find the median by doing 10 plus 13 divided by 2, which is 11.5. Because this is my median, that's where I draw my line. Pay attention to the fact that, I'm sorry, I don't have a line small enough, but because my median is an actual line, it means that I am not covering a number, I am covering this space, which means now there are still 3 values over here for me to cover up. Again, let me look back at the first one that we did. When 10 was my median, I covered up to 10, I left a 3. But in this case here, my median is not a number, so I'm going to leave everything else. I'm just going to cover up wherever the line is, and notice that now I have 1 for 1 where my median here for that is 6, which that means that's my first quartile, and on the other side my median would be 14, and so that means that's my third quartile. And again, using that, we're going from 4 to 19, so again I'm probably just going to count by 5, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. 4 is pretty close to 5, so somewhere around here. 6 is a little bit past 5. 10 of course is there. 13 would be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, probably closer to 15 here. Sorry about that, I'm really not using my head right now. 19 is going to be close to 20. I'm silly. 4, 6, I'm messing up. Sorry about that, I really did mess you up. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. I'll tell you what I did wrong. I was plotting these numbers, which is silly. My minimum is 4, which was right. My first quartile is 6, which was right. 11.5 though would be somewhere around 11. Again, I'm not going to really mark you for that part. 14 would be here, a little bit less than that, and then 19 would be just a little less than 20. Again, draw my vertical lines through here. Make a box out of my 3 middles and connect the outer ones with a whisker. Notice that that looks a little bit further than everything else, whereas this is pretty close. Whenever you see a long whisker, you would call that an outlier. And again, your interquartile range would be that portion right there, in between about 4 to 14. I'm sorry, 6 to 14. And then the last one, again the trickiest one of all of them. Minimum is 6. First quartile we don't know. Median we don't know. Third quartile we don't know. By the way, the reason there is no second quartile is because your median is your second quartile, and your max we know to be 22. So again, going through this 1 for 1, 1 for 1, 1 for 1, and 1 for 1 again leaves me a median here, which again is not a number, but it's an actual value there of 14, 18, I believe would meet at 16. Because remember, these two numbers negotiate. Either way, 16 being my median, but notice that now whenever I cover it up, there's no middle number here. 6 matches with 14, 10 matches with 14, which means that your first quartile is actually here now, and again 10 and 14 would meet at 12. If you want to do that on your calculator, you would do 10 plus 14 equals divided by 2. And then if that's my median again, looking over here, you've got 4 again, which means your median is going to be in between 21 and 22, which is 21.5. Again, notice we're just going up to about 22, so counting by 5 still seems to be okay. Marking these spots, 6 is just a little bit past 5, 12 is just a little bit past 10, median is past 15, 21.5 is just past 20, and 22 of course is next to that. So in this case, again, once we draw our 5 vertical marks and make a box out of the middle 3, connecting our whiskers, notice this time that right side is actually pretty close to the majority of the information, and this is where you have your whisker here. Again, there is a numeric value for what an outlier is, but what you need to know is that this is your interquartile range, and that is how you make yourself a box and whisker plot. The main thing your homework is going to have you do is find the minimum, find the first quartile, find the median, find the third quartile, find the max, and then use the information from the box and whisker. There are some questions that have to do with analyzing them, but again, just answer those, and I will be back tomorrow to help you out with everything you have. But just make sure you're working on finishing your homework, getting ready for this test so you can get your grade under control before the end of this year. Other than that, have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow.